Hello everyone and welcome to GuildGab. This is episode 92 and this is all about Guild Wars 2. We're talking about Path of Fire today. We are 10 days away, guys, from Path of Fire, and we're gonna kind of do a fun countdown today, talk about what we're hyped for, do some speculation, and this is our final time to do speculation and stuff. So that is what we're going to do today. I am here with my wonderful co-hosts, MMOINKS, Alex. RPG Alex. Can I say Alex of the RPG Shack anymore, or is the Shack? Did you burn that down?
Rebrand.
The branding.
Okay, so it's just RPG
and,
Alex now. It's
RPG Alex, and due to litigation with other bodies, it's now.
Dude, it's been years. I've been saying Alex of the RPG Shack. I'm gonna have to retrain myself.
It's the personal branding, not the body branding, because no one cared about the RPG Shack.
This is Food Spur from World of Enders.
And we've got the wonderful CorvusPlays.
Woo!
Hello.
He put out, if you guys haven't seen, an amazing, beautiful, PoF-inspired track.
Thanks for
Did you do two
beautiful.
or just one?
I also have a Patreon as well, guys.
Just like the Scottish. It's grand.
Even bastards.
So 10 days, guys. 10 days.
10 days. Come around fast, doesn't it?
Time has flown by.
It hasn't been like 8 or 9 months since PoF was announced. It feels weird.
Yeah, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to it.
It is. I'm so used to my memories of Heart of Thorns are just as much, excuse me, the weeks leading up with news after news after blog post after blog post after video of like slowly revealing features, revealing elite specializations. Like, I feel like that was as much of like hype and entertainment as the game itself, because everyone was so hyped and just like, you know, drooling over the next time, you know, what's the next elite spec gonna be? Are they gonna announce mine? I want to know.
I mean, it was magical as well, because we were doing shows every single.
We
every
were,
time
yes, we were. It gave us something to talk about
triple.
every single week. People were making videos every single week talking about this stuff.
And just being forced to wait. I mean, obviously it was crap. There was like the content drawn. It was like, you know, like a huge part of the year was just waiting. But like, there's so much hype that comes with having to wait. I'm not complaining that we're getting it so soon.
No.
You know, there's like kind of, it's just so different.
ArenaNet, please push the release to next year. There's
next year is fine.
No.
We need more pre-hype.
No, we don't. We need the game out. We've been hyped. We've had our demo weekends. We've had our PvP and World Tasters. We've had a bit of the story. They've teased us with art. They've done it. It's almost like the tiny little things, like just updating the world map. And then everyone just loses their mind. Oh my god, there's bits of a loader and everything. And you don't even need like Shaman to data mine it or anything. It's like you can see it on there, and then everyone's and then you see it, and then people are picking out like Tirha Orchard and the Garden of Semket, and you're just going, oh, where's the smoldering waste, the sulfuric wastes, and this is the bit where we dive into the realms of torment, and oh my god, look, it's great. And, there's a little bit of the southern shiver peaks they've done. It
brings
crazy.
out the nerd in the Guild Wars 2 nerd in all of us, and it's beautiful.
It's glorious. And when was it? It was only announced. When was it announced? I can't. Was it like July?
August 1st.
August 1st.
Really?
August 1st.
It feels like longer, though, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
To me, it does, anyway. That might be the content creator in me, just because I feel like I've done almost as much work as I did pre-Heart of Thorns for Path of Fire, but in a much more condensed, like, need to make videos every day style kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot more content creation packed into... There's been a lot more information packed into a small time frame. I get this weird sensation. Is this just me? I feel like, okay, this is the second expansion. We're not just waiting for like a Living World episode. This is an expansion, and this is a content expansion that is going to be jam-packed with content. I really truly think that they will have learned from the story of Heart of Thorns and make it meatier. Every story step is going to have a lot of substance to it. I think it's going to be longer because they've had more time to concentrate on that.
Mhm.
It's in 10 days we're going to know the story of Path of Fire, and it's bittersweet. It's like, as much as I want to play it, at the same time I don't, because I want this unknowing, and this anticipation is so bittersweet. Am I the only one that feels that way? It's
No,
like,
no, no,
I want to
totally.
play it,
It's
but
like-
I don't want to play it.
And expansion's like such a huge block of content, and we like never get that. And I loved season 3, but the wait between episodes made me crave an expansion, because I just wanted to have like a huge chunk of story and new stuff to do. And it's kind of crazy. It's crept up so fast that like I'm kind of worried that I'm gonna blast through it so fast and then feel like, oh no, I've got like another 2 years.
Another 2 years to wait until the next.
Well,
Well, I
you're
was
not going to
about-
blast through it in a day unless you just completely no life it and don't take your time. You have to take your time to appreciate the journey and appreciate everything.
Thanks.
No, we're gonna no life it. We're gonna no life it.
It comes
That
out the
weekend.
dude. Like,
Oh,
weekend,
that
we're not gonna
weekend for
sleep.
sure, but
We are not gonna sleep.
don't blast through it in a night. Just
No.
don't.
I'll try.
No. When I was about 9 years old, I think it must have been like my 10th or 11th birthday, and I asked my mum to get me for my birthday to get me the James Bond game for the Game Boy.
Right.
And I'd seen it. I was like, oh, it's so cool. And I was like, I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to play it. And she said, well, sometimes like, the waiting builds it up, and the waiting's that kind of thing that gets you excited.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah. And I at the time I was like, no, I want to play my James Bond game now, actually. But no, she was right. I mean, and looking back, it was like one of my most cherished games. Is like I was still playing it. In fact, it's still on my desk in Australia. It's like I've still got
Oh
it
wow.
20 years later. but no, I can't wait for it. I think I said this to you guys before we went live, that I've been trying to stay away from all of the dev diaries and that kind of thing, just so I don't sort of spoil myself a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I dived into the open tests and stress tests where I could in the weekends, and I got to try out the Renegade for a little bit, and I was like, yep, this is my jam. I'm going to be playing this come launch. Good game. Let's all go home.
It's funny because I was worried about the demo weekend thing, because I think the Heart of Thorns beta really burnt me out on Verdant Brink. Like, I was so kind of done with that map, even though we hadn't seen all of it. Just the kind of enemies everywhere, everything's destroyed thing. It, like, if I had waited and just played it at launch, it would have been cool as hell. But because I'd already been there, a couple of times, and I was worried about this demo doing the same thing, where I wasn't as hyped for the new map because I
Right.
In
played it early.
retrospect, Verdant Brink's a bit of a slog, though, isn't it? And I think
This
I
new
think
map,
it's-
like the Crystal Oasis, is like 100 times better.
It's a lot
Yeah,
simpler than Verdant Brink was too, though.
yeah.
I feel like even though I know I didn't, I feel like I've kind of done everything from playing that demo weekend, because I played the demo weekends, but I haven't played any stress tests purposefully, because I was like, I don't want to play that first part of the map, 4 times before launch. Like
And then you're like,
I played
"Oh,
the
I've done
demo
it now."
weekend. I had to play the demo weekend,
Yeah.
and then I'm staying away from it.
Like, I did that first story step once. I didn't
Yeah.
even make another character to do something else or try something else. Like, because I knew that, like, if I had done it 5 times, I'm not gonna be excited to log in and do
I'm
that
already
again.
there.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be like,
How many times?
speed running it,
You
trying
just-
to get as fast as I can.
Yeah.
I think I've only played through that initial story instance 3 times, which really isn't that many. But I logged in for the stress test, the last one, just the other day, and I was like, oh, I really don't want to play this beginning story bit. So, like, I just rushed through it as fast as possible, didn't listen to anybody, was like, stop talking, I need to kill things, let's move on. I just want my raptor, let me get out of here, because, number one, there's no more story to go on after that. Not that I want there to be. Like, I don't want any more of their story spoiled,
Right.
Yeah.
But you're right. When I got into the map, I was like, oh, I want to go check out these different points, but I'm not, like, the first demo weekend that we had, I went through, like, as much as I could. Like I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, I played for an hour and I'm bored. I just logged off. There's nothing to do in the map." And I'm like, I spent 5 hours in the map and I still didn't see everything. What do you mean there's nothing to do?
Yeah.
And I get it. You know, it's not for everybody. I think, like you guys were just talking about Verdant Brink, and I've always sort of contested that the layout for Heart of Thorns maps were a bit backwards. I feel like Arc Basin should have been first, and then Verdant Brink, because it sort of transitions you into gliding a lot better, and the map is a little bit flatter in Arc Basin and so forth. And I feel like that's what Crystal Oasis is. I feel like Crystal Oasis is a very flat, Core Tyria, Living Story 3 kind of map. There's there's little events going on and little meta event coin collecting and so forth, but there's not any big like Arc Basin or Dragon Stand kind of monster meta event going on. And I think that's okay for the first map.
100%.
The worry for some people is like, what's next? Like, what else is there? And that's what ArenaNet hasn't showed us, which they can't really show you too much because it just gives too much away, you know?
Yeah.
I'd almost like them to take a completely opposite map development direction than they did from Heart of Thorns. It's like, yeah, we've got our Heart of Thorns expansion. We've got our 4 maps with our big wide metas, with our big wide meta events. And I think that's cool. But I think if you end up having expansion after expansion that has its own separate full set of meta events, kind of completing the maps and that kind of thing to the scale that Heart of Thorns did, it's just you're very quickly going to run out of time to play the game. And on top of on top of whatever else they bring out after Path of Fire, in fact the rest of the second generation of legendary weapons is going to require you to farm all that Heart of Thorns kind of currency, like especially like the crystalline ingots and that kind of thing. Although if they had another source of crystalline ingots, that would be very nice, because that's been doing my skull and doing Dragon Stand over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean it's not so bad, but yeah.
It's not. It's like an AFK cheese fest. But I was playing it the other day, and I got 40 seconds from the end of Dragon Stand, and there was a power cut in the village.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that's the worst.
Like, no, so I couldn't get in. I couldn't get in to claim my chest at the end.
I think like it was cool having that super organized, detailed kind of meta events and huge map progression stuff. But I think it depressed a lot of people, being like, "Oh, I've come home from work, you know, I've got like dinner to make for the kids and all this stuff, and then I've got like 3 hours to play." And then seeing that the strict timer, it's like this one event takes like 2 hours of your time or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it ruined the kind of immersion of it. It was kind of fourth wall breaking for a lot of people. Not because there was a timer, but I think just because they were quite long.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely my situation, man.
More dynamic and smaller, rather than this cool 3 hour event. Like, yeah, that's cool, but like realistically, so many people aren't really going to have a chance to play that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, do you remember the very original South Sun event? The 3 hour one. With
that I got I got triggered because my connection and the way that the map ran was really terrible.
Oh, dude, it was terrible across the world.
I was dying, but I wouldn't find out for like 60 seconds that I was dead already. And then so I got angry and I was just like, I logged off. I'm like, I'll come back and play it later. And I came back to play it later, of course, and well, it was
a one-time event.
And I was like, what?
One-time event, man.
I mean, that was long before I even started making content for Guild Wars 2. But I think that what I hope with Path of Fire is that they've struck a balance of more casual exploration maps with small meta events, repeatable hearts, and so forth, like Crystal Oasis, and large-scale meta events like Arc Basin or the Garant or something like that in at least part of the map. Because these maps are larger, right? So at least in part of the maps. And then I would even love to see them take this bounty system, which I'm not even sure if that's just Crystal Oasis, or is that going to be in several maps?
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
If they could take that like into other maps and sort of have different legendary creatures.
Because that way it's like, yeah, because like people want to fight a boss, right? Technically, there's always something to do. You could go to Verdant Brink, but it might just be like a defend this camp event. But you can still do the events there. having something like the bounty system means that like no matter how much time you've got, you can log in and like fight a boss. You know, like you can always find something.
Wait,
Have a quick fight.
thinking about it now, it's like the Justice of the Blade side story was pretty much the template for that, wasn't it? That you collect your bounty orders from the Seraph Guard or
Sort of, yeah.
Oh,
Sort of.
yeah.
or whoever it was. They are really hard when you do them on your own, by the way.
Those events are crazy difficult. Yeah, oh, those bandit events. Yeah, I don't ever
Should
want
have
to do
done
those
them
again.
at the time.
If I
Did
see,
they not
if I
make them
come across
easier,
them,
though?
I'm like, nope, not doing
I
it.
think there was a hotfix or some little update like a few weeks ago that made them a bit easier.
Yeah.
Nah,
Oh,
they're
nice.
still solid as dicks, as it were.
Really?
Yeah.
They
Sorry,
nerfed
that's
them. There
terrible
was some kind of
terrible
reason
metaphor.
they said, but apparently they've grown
Well,
weaker.
that's
or something.
good.
It was in the patch notes.
That's good.
One thing I am looking forward to is I was watching, like WP put out his like demo footage or whatever, and at one point he stops, and I missed a lot of the ambient dialogue in the demo just because I really didn't want to hear all that, just because that's sort of my thing. I love just listening to the ambient dialogue in cities, towns, whatever. Some of it gets repeatable and annoying after a while, but the first couple of times you hear it is generally fascinating. And so he stops to listen to this port authority person from Amnoon and this Asura from the consortium. And, you know, ArenaNet at one point talked about how they sort of contracted out new voiceover people just for Crystal Oasis.
Yeah.
Now you're going to hear a lot of Bram and timing, unfortunately, which is disturbing.
Yeah.
But the other actors that they got in there, some really top quality stuff. This Amnoon official is like, your boat has spilled all your cargo. You need to clean this up. You're blocking traffic and so forth. And the Asura is it has just the right amount of snark. And like, I don't know how to explain it. Like he's got the right amount of snark where he's trying to be overly polite, but he's being rude at the same time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, look, I'm hearing what you're saying. We want to clean it up and we will. But if you clean it up, then you can keep, like, just think of these as free samples and blah, 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 and so forth. And it's like, I'm like, that's perfect. That's what I love. That's what I want to, like, I can't wait to hear more of those types of conversations.
It gets you immersed in the world because it makes you feel the world is alive around you rather than these NPCs just standing there doing nothing. I always find it sad that they put so much work into those, and there's a lot of players who will like never ever hear that either because they're not the kind of people who want to go and listen to ambient dialogue like that, or they just miss it because it's timed. You know, it's not going off every 30 seconds. Some of them are, but you know, there's ones that only prop every 5-10 minutes, and you know, you just have to be there. But the cool thing about that is, even now, 5 years later after the launch of Guild Wars 2, I have still run across dynamic events I've never done. I have still run across ambient dialogue I've never heard, and
I haven't taken leave of my senses. I've seen creatures of metal and steam.
This dialogue, the Silver Waste dialogue is the worst. I've heard that.
No, I know what you mean. This every now and again, I still find those random events that I've either forgotten or I've just never encountered. I was doing my I was finishing off like my Chukra and Chumpawat collection or something, and there was a whole cycle of bandit events south of Arca Waypoint, south of the little Seraph outpost there, that I'd never seen before. And like I've not been to that map in ages, like years probably. And aside from, you know, doing Ulgoth, I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, it wasn't anything, you know, spectacularly cinematic or anything like that, but it was kind of like, you know, rescue soldiers, kill spiders, that kind of thing.
But you appreciated it. You noticed that
Yeah,
you
but it's like
hadn't seen it before.
It's cool. It adds little stuff. Like, I think it's like, I sometimes get annoyed at it because it's like, you know, I'm gonna miss that. Like, there's a whole story arc thing going on that might be tied to the events that, like, you know, I've just walked into and I've missed like half of it. But like that's when you're thinking short term. You know, you want to complete the map. But yeah, you're not thinking of like in 6 months when you're just like wandering around looking for something to do, and then like there's this cool new thing. Like it extends the life of it all, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you walk, you would have listened to that dialogue. If you heard everything in the first day, then
Right.
you know it loses a lot of that magic just going back.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
It's
But
like
yeah, I did the same thing. I ignored as much of that as possible. I didn't do any of the hearts or anything. I just wanted to keep that stuff for.
I was having a look at my Heart of Thorns achievements earlier today, and there's looking at something like I've never completed. What is it? I've only completed 2 of the 4 event chains in Verdant Brink, like all the way through.
I'm missing a lot as well.
I've only done like the Noble one and the one just next to it in the ruins.
I think I
I've only
might
done
be
those.
missing the Noble one.
Yeah, I've never completed the Jarkaritzel one, and I've never completed the
other one.
The other one.
Ordnance.
Yeah.
I like that it keeps
That's
track
good.
of that stuff. Like you can
Yeah,
actually look
it's-
and see which ones you've done and haven't done.
Yeah, and eventually they actually broke it down so you can see which specific step you've not done, so you can just kind of like drop in and out. Oh, but when I find it, I just go no. I'm just sticking with this, sticking with this because I don't want to screw it up and miss one. But no, it's I've got a really good feeling about it. I think I've got this airy, breezy kind of feeling about it where. There's gonna be stuff for like the hardcore farmers and that kind of thing. I mean, there's that new Ecto Gamble thing, which is just cruel. What is that about?
I was honestly disappointed that there wasn't like a card game.
That it wasn't different than
They
Ecto
made a whole
Gambling.
casino, and there's
the
the
new
Ecto
assets of the
Gambling,
cards and stuff.
but then
like,
there's NPCs playing games that you can't play, and then there's like.
Yeah.
There's like
The cog
a
fighting.
Choya fight,
That
but
is
like
true.
Yeah,
I
cage match.
tried to do it. It didn't really like work. I don't know if I wandered away too soon, but like the little Choya come out and they like start fighting each other, and I'm just like, this is taking a long time, and I'm just
Yeah.
sitting here trying to like angle my camera between the bars so I can see the Choya fight, and I'm just like, did I win? I don't know. I was a little confused by that.
As far as I know, you can't play card games in games without raising the age rating to mature because it's gambling.
Really?
Yeah,
But
it's
Ecto
why-
Gambling is
Ecto
gambling.
is the Mystic Forge is gambling.
That's not bad. That's RNG. There's a subtle difference. It's explicitly
What?
gambling.
It's
No, but
It's
gambling.
explicitly gambling currency.
Final
It's why
Fantasy
called
14 has
Ecto
Ecto
Gambling.
though.
it's why Pazak isn't in the Old Republic, but it's in Knights of the Old Republic.
But Final
So-
Fantasy 14 has triple triad and it has a whole casino with actual gambling.
What's
Huh.
the age rating on that?
I'm not sure, but it can't be higher than Guild Wars, certainly.
2 to 96.
2 to 96.
At 97, you're not allowed to play anymore.
No, that's it. Game over.
They take your account away. You're too
Maybe
old to
it's
play this.
changed.
Get out of
Maybe-
here.
Maybe it's changed.
I don't know.
It could be.
It's rated T for teen, which I think is the same as Guild Wars, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that has like an entire, and it looks properly like a casino and stuff in that as well.
That'd be cool if they
Is that-
later
I was
added
hoping for
another
something.
game, so you had
I've
a
just
reason
been-
to go back to that casino. Because some people are never gonna ecto gamble. They're never gonna
Right.
do whatever other thing is in there. You can. There's an event. This is cool. There's an event that happens around the casino, which takes you all over the city of Amnoon, collecting those coins. And then you can turn those coins in at the casino for prizes. I think the only prize was a mini. Hopefully they'll add more, but
Right, I think things are missing,
at
but
least
yeah.
that was something that I thought that was cool, that you had to do an event outside the casino that took you all over the city and then go back into the casino. And like I said, maybe they can add more in the future. There's nothing that says, oh, what's in there is set forevermore. But
It would be cool if you could take those coins that you collect and put it into like a slot machine
yeah,
that
it'd keep
it
you
spits
busy.
out some kind of
Put
prize
a
or
single
something.
coin in there, and then it's like a black lion chest where he like opens up and a faux black lion chest interface. And
Right.
if you get 3 matching things, then 3 matching tomes of knowledge, you get a prize. You know, something.
Yeah, it would be cool.
That'd
I
be
mean, they
cool.
can definitely expand upon it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think, like, for example, I know in one of the first demo weekend, there is an awakened vendor who is selling Paulo Ajoko merchandise. But in the
Yes.
first, he's statues everywhere. But in the first demo, he didn't have anything, and I know in the stress test he had a couple of minis and stuff for
really?
sale. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the demo definitely had certain aspects turned off for vendors and so forth. Like if you went and look at recipes, it was just like, this will be a recipe in Path of Fire, like it, but it wouldn't tell you what it was, right? For obvious reasons.
Right.
T for teen is simulated gambling. It's adults only if it's using real currency.
Alright, so that should be fine then.
So
So
you,
yeah.
you can't gamble your gems.
I've been
You
playing
can't gamble your
Gwent
gems.
recently. I need
Can
a
you just
card.
imagine that? How? Oh, what a way to kill a game!
I mean,
What a-
technically, you can buy gems with real money, you know, turn it into gold, and then ecto gamble.
The
Yeah, but
gem
it's-
gamble.
But then you can't turn it
Some
back into
people do,
real
I'm sure.
currency. So
I just like the idea of
Legally.
like having cards to collect. You know, like having a section of your, you know, how you have your mini section. Having like, a card.
Polymock, man. Polymock.
Yeah. They could have just.
Because you
turned
collect the little statues, and then they fight. I was
Well,
just go ahead.
they even have super awesome dialogue for Sandstorm while you're standing there gambling, where it's like the guy will say like mountain, river, Joko.
Oh, yeah.
Joko corrupts all or something, and or like it's like I don't remember the exact sayings, but it's like this dragon consumes all, you lose.
and I just kept saying, I want to play that game.
Yes, that's the game I want to play.
I want to play that. Yeah.
It's like I got a Joko, I win.
Joko trumps all. 21.
Mountain, river, tree. Oh, not again.
I'd love to see, all things considered, I'd love to see Joko back in the expansion, but I don't know whether or not that's reaching into season 4.
Well, he
'Cause-
is. Joko's
Yeah.
Joko's in Path of Fire
I think
for
that's
sure.
the focus shift. Like the expansion's gonna be Balthazar or Cathar stuff, and then it's gonna.
That's
take a
what I
shift.
mean, yeah.
Into season
Right.
4.
I don't think
Joko-
Joko's. I don't think he's gonna be like a, you know, a major character that's gonna follow us along the whole time. But it's gonna be something we have to deal with moving through the desert. I mean, they did say that Joko's gonna be, you know, a significant character.
I like him.
Yeah.
sure.
I think a lot of his stuff's gonna be set up though for season 4.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's almost
Depending on
too-
how big they go with the season 4 story, because I mean, season 3 was cool and there was a lot of big moments in it, but it wasn't
he's
like
too
a
cool
like a
for the
saga.
living world. He needs his own expansion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like maybe because there was a direction in season 3, but it was kind of different things. You know, it was like sprinkled through.
Yes.
It wasn't like a big, massive campaign, like which I think Joko kind of deserves.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think season 3 was very. We're going over here, and then we're going to go over here and do this.
Yeah.
Forget what happened last episode. We're doing this, and then we're going to go down here and do
exactly.
this. Forget what happened last episode, except
Like
for
it
the
never really
dragon thing, and then we
continued
do this.
straight away.
It felt very choppy. It didn't feel like it flowed,
Yeah.
and hopefully season 4 will, because I think if season 4, if we continue to go down into Alona for season 4. And this is really getting ahead of ourselves here. Although episode 1 before the end of the year, which is insane.
Yeah.
So really, it's not getting that far ahead. You know, going, you know, PoF, I think will take us through the Crystal Desert, and then we're going to go down into the areas where, you know, Nightfall took place.
Corna,
Probably
yes,
we're
then.
going to go into Corna for season 4, I think.
But and
North
because
Abbey.
we have that, there's a sense of direction in that. So even if the story's kind of skipping, the maps are going to be kind of going in a straight line. Like there's a direction to it.
Right.
Like we know we're progressing this way, probably. Anyway, I'm guessing. Well, you know, season 3, the story was kind of jumping all over the place, but so were the maps.
Yeah.
So it kind of just felt like it could have been in any order, you know, outside of low plot points.
Right.
So, what are you guys doing on a generally weekly basis? Let's say weekly, not daily. On a weekly basis before Path of Fire.
Raids,
Log in real
raids, doing
And then-
nothing.
As much grinding karma as I can manage.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm just trying to grind currency, and I've got a few bits, legendary bits I want to try and finish. I've almost done adding and Ad Infinitum, but I'm not going to get that finished in time because I need the fractal pages. I need a Gift of Battle to finish Chuka and Chumpawat because I accidentally trashed one. A while
What?
back. Yeah.
Dude.
Deleted it.
Oops.
I bought as many as I could when they announced that they were.
I bought one before they made the change, and I must have deleted a character that it was on that I was using at storage.
Dude.
And I'm so
That's like
annoyed
deleting a
because
Gift of Exploration or something.
That's deleting characters 101, Alex. What are you doing?
I know.
You did
I-
not consult
honestly,
the expert
I know,
before you deleted your character, so
Yeah, I
insurance
just
will
had-
not cover your mistake.
I had no idea where it's gone, and now
You
I
should
have
have put a
to go-
ticket in.
Yeah, you should put a ticket in. I
These
heard
people
of
have gotten items from like years that they deleted, like
Yeah,
coming
so
back
that-
after 2 years, and I had this, but
But yeah, I like get my Gift of Battle, and then I can make Truker and Chumpawat.
nice.
I
You're
need one
working
to
on-
get my last cat.
Oh, the cats.
How many cats are in the are in your home instance at the moment?
All of them but one.
Oh
No,
my
all of them
gosh.
but two. I'm missing.
which ones?
I'm missing Cosmic Cat from because you got to do
Simon.
CM
Ah.
Observatory, which I haven't
Yes.
done yet.
Yes.
And I need the cat that needs the Gift of Battle, which I'm like halfway through.
Oh, okay, I think I've got one. Got one cat.
I have loads. There's so
Okay.
many of them are so easy,
One or
but they
two.
kind of slowly getting harder or putting like
I've not
little
even-
barriers.
I've not even tried to find them.
I think I've got all of the easy ones. Simon is probably like the hardest for me.
Yeah,
to get.
I want to try and get
Oh,
Aurora,
Simon? Is
which
Simon
He's
Cosmic?
yeah.
I think
That's
you're
what I'm
working on
currently
Peachy,
working
aren't you?
on. Yeah, and it's
How off of that are you?
I'm still
For
on the
what?
first collection. I'm doing all
Aurora.
the map stuff. Yeah. So and that's actually given me a
So
goal.
much work.
And
Yeah,
it is so
so
much
much
work.
to do.
I realized the other day I went and looked at, I'm just like, no, I'll just slowly make my way towards Aurora. And I opened up the wiki the other day and actually looked at the list and realized that oh, this is a full legendary. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've crafted a full
Yeah.
legendary that wasn't the armor that you kind of did over a long period of
Slowly
time.
add
The
Don't
armor
you-
is a little different, the process,
Don't-
but
Don't you have to redo Chalice of Tears?
Yep.
yeah, you have to redo.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to redo everything in the all 6 Living World season 3 maps.
The thing is, right?
plus
It's
all the
quite
metas.
easy. It's quite easy if you did everything when episodes came out, right? And that's what I noticed because like friends I have in game and stuff, it's like, oh, there's this achievement or this back piece or there's collect all of these tiny things in the map. Like I never bother with those, and so like, but they do it like the second the episode's out. They'll play
Oh,
it.
no,
For the
I
weekend.
did. I took a while back. I was like, I need something to do. Let's do the meta. Let's do all the achievements in the map. So I actually had a bunch of that already done. And
So I had like basically none of it. I had like the meta reward, like the piece of armor skin or
Yeah.
whatever you get for doing like those achievements. So I had a couple ticked, but I basically had to do all of that again, collecting
Yeah,
all of the little
It doesn't count.
Mersat
Does it?
tokens.
It doesn't
well, you
count.
have to get the tokens and stuff like the Mersat tokens and
Yeah.
find all the Zin's
stuff.
journal entries. You have to do all that to even unlock the Aurora collection.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then once that's unlocked, that's when you have to do stuff over. You have to do every heart all over again. You have to do every like major boss all over again. You have to collect, kill White Mantle and hope this thing drops, and kill these and mine Jade Shards and hope this drops. And do the jumping
done-
puzzles again.
I've got all of it done except there's I think 2 skins. Yeah, there's a skin in Lake Dark I need. I still need to finish the Wayfarer's Henge, which is just time gated. And
Yep.
I need one of the god back pieces from the new map. So that's like about 500,000 karma I need, I think,
Oof.
which I have to grind for.
Yeah.
And apart from that, it's just currencies at the end. The whole of the second collection, all of those ingots and stuff, I've already got set up. I've basically done it all. It's just currency and karma, i.e.
Yeah.
the things I can't just cheat
I'm gonna
by
need to farm
using
karma.
a credit card.
I'm in no hurry though, and I'm in no hurry, so I'll probably come Winter's Day, I'm probably still not gonna have it, and I'll be farming
Silver wastes
karma.
it.
Silver
Silver
wastes.
wastes it, man.
Yeah.
My only real roadblock was the money cost for certain materials at the end. I don't even remember what you needed, but whatever the gifts and stuff that I had to make, like I didn't have enough of those materials, so I had to dump a good 500 gold or 600 gold into it, which is a lot,
It's not bad for a legendary though, is it?
No,
No.
not all. I mean, considering like I was lucky because I'm obviously an achievement person mostly, and so with the exception of Siren's Landing, I had all of that stuff done. I just had to go back and redo like the bosses and hearts and stuff, which is really not a big deal for me. I think Bitterfrost took me maybe 2 or 3 days going into the back area and opening the chest because that's just RNG.
I got it on my 5th chest first
I got
time.
it
I
on
was
my
so
first
happy.
day.
So
I got it-
happy.
It was like the 4th chest I opened. I got one. I
I was
think.
like, please, please, please.
I had
be in
pretty
this
good
chest.
luck with it. The
And
worst
then
thing.
the only other thing was the jumping puzzle, but I just went into that map and opened up LFG and just sat
Followed
there
it
waiting
as
for
well.
somebody to say, "Hey, I'm porting," and I was like,
Oh.
"There you go, port me to the top, buddy."
Does Chalice have... Oh no, you have to be
You have to get the
ported waypoint by
checkpoints. You
waypoint.
do have to get the checkpoints.
Right,
Yeah,
but there's
but
people
there's
who will
some
teleport you right to the
mesmers
checkpoints.
that do
Right,
it.
Mesmers will port you at each checkpoint and then to the top.
Okay, I
Takes a
thought
while,
I did it the
but-
lazy way, but no, you did it the lazy way. I
Super lazy.
I used Tekkett's guide through Taco. I used the Taco overlay to do Chalice of
Oh,
Tears. Chalice of Tears was still tricky. I was surprised how easy Searing Ascent was with the guide. It was really easy. I was like,
I did Chalice because I
remember
never
this being
I'd never done
impossible.
them. I'd never done them, and I did Chalice first, and so
Oh.
then doing Searing Ascent was just like, this is chill as hell. Like, I can do this all
yeah,
day.
Chalice still took me like 3 hours. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Horrible.
like
But what I did was I did the tokens first, and there's some that you need to get
you have
during
you
the
have
jumping puzzle.
yes.
So I
actually have to do
focused
it
and I got the
twice.
tokens, and then I was like, what's next on the list after I got all the tokens? Then I saw I had to do the jumping puzzle, and I hadn't done them together. I did it like both separately, so I had to basically do the JP like twice.
Yeah.
Which is raw.
I hate Chalice of Tears.
I did Chalice of Tears once by myself without any help, no guides, legit,
Oh God.
which took me hours
Oh
and
my
hours
God.
of frustration.
Never
I'm just
could I
not
do
good
that.
I
at
could never do that.
like
no.
stuff where it's not super clear. Some people will probably disagree with this, and that's okay. But that one to me is not always super clear where you need to go next.
It's not.
There's a lot of blind
so
jumps.
obtuse.
Yeah.
And
about
so
that.
I just, it's
Hey.
like, oh, I think I need to go here, but I missed it. I'm dead. Time to start over, or hopefully you made it to a checkpoint.
Searing
But,
Ascent is worse though with knowing where to go because you're literally making blind glides around corners.
Yeah.
I guess so. That one wasn't as bad for me,
The
but
checkpoint thing was somewhat, I don't know, like the new map, Siren's Landing, that checkpoint system
that better.
would have made Chalice of Tears like so much easier and
What,
just a bit
have it-
more approachable.
having the recall button.
Yeah, the special action thing to correct stuff in
Yeah.
it. Though, I don't know. It relies on the blind jump thing too much. And kind of,
Yeah,
there's
that
not
was-
really. I
that
like
was my
jumping
major
puzzles where the environment kind of guides you, not like a sign or like a
Yes.
guy pointing,
Yeah, the
but like
Sirens,
just
Abaddon's.
it feels like that.
What was it called? Abaddon's Tower.
Plaster
So-
Tower or whatever it was.
That I like that one.
That was
Yeah.
a really good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
really
because-
simple, but like it felt good to do.
It did.
But that hopefully they use that same kind of checkpoint system in new.
Actually, do you know what I would really like to see them use as a template? The dry dock scratch, is it called? The one
Yeah,
in Silver
with
Waste.
the script tunnels.
Yeah,
Oof.
I thought that
Ugh.
That was
I-
fun to do the first time. I wouldn't do it.
I really really like it. I mean, like, yeah, the jumping through the holes at the end is a little bit of a mare, but I think up until the bit where it starts getting really ridiculous, for like the last fifth or whatever it is, I thought that was great. It uses the environment without being completely,
Just in your face. Like, go
yeah,
this way.
like signposted about you must go here.
Mhm.
But it just kind of like you could just kind of like guide yourself over, and you got some nice vistas and that kind of thing across the map. I thought that was the way. I think that's the way to do a jumping puzzle. I think the at least what I've seen of the Crystal Oasis, it lends itself towards doing that, to kind of having that kind of nice layout. Because I think, if I remember correctly, what they started doing with Silver Oasis was they started experimenting with the heights of maps. So if you look at how the map is, the ground floor of the Silver Waste is actually really high up in the box, in the overall 3D box, and then it goes really, really low down. So the actual floor of it is kind of equivalent to like ground level on another map.
Yeah, it's like one of the longest falls you can get in the game.
Yeah.
Well, it was until
more recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
September 22nd, 9 a.m. PDT.
Okay, yeah. Wait, is it 9 a.m. or
Yeah, it's
It's
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
PDT.
PDT?
That sucks, man. That's
it's
like
about
5 p.m.
It's about 5 p.m. over here.
That's crap.
It's noon for me.
I want
and
the
Aurora.
whole midnight
right,
hype
it's noon
thing.
for us. I know, it's weird. I would
Like,
rather it be
what the
midnight.
hell?
Because I want to stream like from noon to midnight. Now what? I have to stream from midnight to noon? That's like all night. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Now
don't
you'll
wanna
know
do
how
that.
it feels, Peachy. Now you know how it feels.
So what are you gonna do? It launches. You open it up. You get in game. What do you do?
I'm gonna
Story,
play-
man. I think you've got to
Story.
go for the story before you get spoiled.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I'm going to be
I think-
streaming, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with Heart of Thorns, at least, I'm going to stream, like, for 12 hours or something leading up to it. And then when it launches, I'm going to get in, I'm going to play... There's apparently a transition, like, story before you see that cutscene that we saw, that the demo started with. There's something before that, they said. That kind of leads you into that cutscene, like, why you're all on the ship and probably meeting those characters. So, play that. I'll basically play the first story instance because we've already played it. Maybe run around in the new map a little bit, and then I am offline until I finish the story.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that weekend is
that's cool.
dedicated. I'm going to record. Of
That's
course,
cool.
of course, I'm going to record it
Are
all.
you gonna be able to do it in a
gonna-
weekend?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Because
It's
remember
gonna
last
be.
time,
It's gonna be a
Master
really.
Race.
It's gonna be a. I hope they don't mastery gate it. It's like
I think
gotta
it's gonna
sit
be
there
easier
and
than-
grind.
No, I think they've learned from that because the thing is,
I don't think they will do that again.
when they did that with Heart of Thorns, there was the Itzel Poison one, and there was a New York one as well.
Yeah.
That they gated the story for 3 days in, and they'd taken it off because it was ridiculous.
By the time they did that, I was done all those. But yeah.
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 But
yeah,
also
they-
the masteries now are all mount based, and it's all kind of slight upgrades that, like, you know, like you needed to glide to be able to get to this place. But like,
Yeah.
you know, looking at all the powers, like you could probably raptor leap across to that place pretty chill,
Yeah.
or go higher and glide to it, or you know, I think there's going to be different ways to get to different places. There's not so much of a, oh, you will die because of poison unless you have this mastery. There's not like a hard
Yeah.
wall there, so I
And-
don't think they can realistically do that.
And for travel stuff, like it can probably be got around by mesmer portals or teleportation guns or anything like that anyway. So
Yeah, but that's
I don't-
cheap.
I don't really see the point in gating it
Exploits,
behind
It,
mount
just,
abilities.
it would be, if it was arbitrary and hard thorns, it's going to be even more like that in Path of Fire if they choose to do it. Like, it's going to feel a bit like this is just here to make it last longer.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh,
it
also, I'm going to get me my new guild hall as well because that is a very
Mm.
fancy looking guild hall.
Yeah, I think our guild's gonna just transfer to the new one. Just keep things
It
new
looks-
and fresh. The
There's
decorations.
not gonna be
don't
like a-
make new
is there-
jumping puzzles.
Have they said whether there's going to be kind of like an unlock mission thing? Like
I would
maybe-
assume
I
it
would.
would
I would
be.
assume so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Hopefully.
it's
they haven't specifically said there will be, but it makes sense.
I mean, I'm loving me some. I mean, the best guild hall at the moment is obviously Lost Precipice, and I'm hoping that they that they kind of repair allow you to repair the new one to a higher standard than you could with Lost Precipice. Just because
Yeah.
it sort of like sets me off a little bit, seeing the building still a little bit crumbly even after you've fixed everything.
Oh, gotcha. I
I think
that's
there needs
something
to be
I
more progression.
yes, I
Yeah.
hope there's more progression. I don't know what they could add. We had an idea on stream today. We're having a problem with the guild is too full. So I would love a guild upgrade system that everybody could contribute to up the cap. And yes, I know they've said that they can never up the cap, blah, blah, blah. But I would love that. That would be such a perfect system because you're at cap of 500 people. So let's get those 500 people to rally together to increase the cap even more. So we can have more people. I would love that. I really enjoyed that collection, that system of everybody. Hey, I've got some of these. I've got some of these. Let's all combine our resources. It was great. And so they haven't said anything about if there's going to be more of it, but I really hope there is.
I mean, there's got to be more decorations and stuff coming.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like,
there will be.
Yeah.
they have really
Yeah.
kind of. It feels like they've kind of skimmed over it a bit. Like, I don't know. I figured they'd be showing off the new hall and all the new well, not all of them, but some of the new decorations and all this cool new stuff and new things to unlock for your guild. But they haven't really.
I think
Like,
there's
is
going
it
to be
gonna
a
be
lot of
missions
little
or
features
something?
like that we're going to see that they haven't necessarily made a part of their like announcement or hype strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't said like new armor, new weapons, but we know there's going to be some.
Yeah.
You
of
know,
course,
like they haven't really hyped it, so there's definitely going to be new guild hall decorations. They just haven't hyped it necessarily.
No, that's our job.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Hey, I'm
Spread the
excited.
word.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm excited. I really am. It's
I'm like excited, but I get easily. I don't know. I don't know if other people feel this way.
I do
like
feel
what?
that
Yeah.
way.
Loud motorcycles.
Oh, Inks. I'm so
man.
sorry, dude. I don't know how you
I
Censorship.
live like in Motorcycle Alley. Anyway, I don't know if anybody gets this way. I get this way with even Living Story patches, but obviously there's going to be patch notes the day it launches, which I probably won't see too much later in the day with everything that's going on. But I get overwhelmed very easily because I don't know if it's just a content creator thing, but I feel like I need to do a million things at once, and it's like, where do you start?
Mm.
Oh,
I do get it. It's like I'll be trying to do something that I want to do, but knowing that there's like 3 other things I could be doing that are also new exciting makes me feel like I'm kind of like my mind isn't focused on this thing I'm doing. I'm constantly thinking of all these other things at the same time, and it kind of makes
at
me.
some point you have to remember that you have to play the game for yourself as well, rather
Yeah,
than just.
that's
very
hard.
bad.
That's hard to
It's
do as a
tricky.
content creator.
That's
It
very hard
really
to do.
is. I mean, you know, I know that my experience is different when because I'm recording myself. I have this big bright light on. It's not just me and my PJs playing the story, you know, for fun at my own pace, like, you know, and commentating through it and everything and thinking about just all the technical stuff. And, you know, I of course enjoy it, but I don't know. It definitely does change things.
Well, you guys will get that next weekend, right?
Yeah, we will. We'll be getting it. We'll be getting.
Especially if you're taking that weekend off, PG. It'd just be for you to. But then are you gonna record your playthrough?
Oh yes, 1,000%.
Alright, so then it's still kind of.
I would not be AuroraPeachy if I didn't record my reaction to the
Your
story.
reactions. alright.
Peachy reacts too.
You could just cut.
But
the
I'm not.
expected
But I'm not
tears.
streaming it. But something that was interesting is I did stream episode 6 because I had already played it, most of it. And even though I'm all about, you know, I'm not going to stream it because people ruined stuff for me. I streamed half a Heart of Thorns and everybody was, you know, people were donating with spoiler, you know, names and everything. And I was just like, you know, come on. And I was like, I'm never streaming story again.
Traherne is Dumbledore. And
Exactly. And, but I did stream episode 6, but I turned the chat off. I turned alerts off. There was nothing but, it was still nothing but me in the game, even though I knew I was streaming. But because I knew I was streaming, because I knew people were watching live, it did change. It made it slightly more exciting for me. And now I'm like, what do I do? I was like, I don't know what to do. But
I think it's
no, I'm
it's
playing it
like,
offline.
yeah, you got to play
Yeah.
it offline the first time. You don't want people.
Yeah.
You don't want people kind of. Duppers, you're not funny. He's very mean. Am I the girl? Hang on, which one of us is the girl in the lower left?
Let's find out. Let's find
What?
out.
Which one of us is the girl in the upper right seems cool. The girl in the lower left, however, I'm not sure if he means me or Corvus.
Oh.
I'm in the bottom right, so he didn't even talk about me. It was between.
Oh, it's me.
You and
I'm the
Inks.
girl on the lower left.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. The girl in the upper left is
Nope,
hot.
nope.
Thanks.
You said the girl in the upper right is hot, so that's
Yep.
you know.
Nah.
You're
I am a
sorry,
pretty girl.
you're stuck with
so
that now.
Just deal with it.
You're stuck
Yeah,
with
that's
it.
it. That's it. Sorry, man. The girl in the lower left.
Is.
No, that means you're the hot one.
Yeah,
Girl in the
can
lower-
suck a golf ball through a hose. What?
Wow. Wow. Derailed.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Yes, Ida. They better not do anything like spoil story with minis in like merchants. What was that in episode 6? Like, are you serious? Like putting Olivia mini in the first merchant, like in the Unbound
Somebody-
And the
magic
thing is,
merchant.
it doesn't even look like Livia either. It's just some Birkin shining blade armor, isn't it? It's not like there's not the Livia hairstyle. It's just the thing
It
with the
is.
helmet on.
No,
isn't
it is. The one is, or
Is it?
Or is it? No, I don't know. Either way, the
I don't-
text says Livia before you find out
Yeah.
it's Livia, and it's like
There
really?
was somebody told me they'd do it again in Path of Fire, that they had seen some mini. I'm not going to say which or where, but they had seen some mini that like is a potential spoiler for a piece of the story, and it's like,
Well, we know
like-
a lot of the characters. Like if there's a Palawa Joko mini, like we
It's
know
not really
Palawa Joko is
Balthazar,
part of the
guys.
story, right?
It was Lazarus all along.
Oh god.
I don't really want to. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so I don't want to get into it. But
No.
like, I really dislike seeing those minis ahead of time until like the story's been complete for me or something like that. Because you'll see a
Yeah.
character and it's just like, why
That's
are
kinda
you
what
showing
bugged-
me
it
so and so
bugged me.
before I've seen it? You know.
It bugged me about in season 3, like you could do a heart and the heart would have a mini of some character that like you might not have known was particularly relevant or
Right.
you know was a reveal even. It just so I hope that that same thing doesn't happen throughout the expansion. You know, I don't want to do a heart in the last map that reveals a mini of like
Like, I like those rewards.
character.
Just find a way to hide it until you've
Yeah.
done.
They
story
did it in Raid Wing 4, right? You know, right at the beginning of Raid Wing 4, there's a merchant you can, and they have all the minis, and if you want, you can look at, you know, the models of most of the bosses and everything like that, and that is a spoiler, but the big reveal in Wing 4 is Sol D'Alessio, and there was Sol minis, but they didn't call the
No,
mini
he's
Sol
not.
D'Alessio.
He's called what? White Mantle Figurehead.
Right
isn't he, or
Mancer
something like that?
figurehead, yeah, and you couldn't tell by his clothes that that's who it was. So,
No.
you know, I thought that was the final boss, and I don't think there's a Deimos mini, so it didn't spoil the final boss, and it didn't spoil the story reveal at the end either, because I just saw White Mantle and then like some homeless guy, and I'm like, is this the final boss? I was like, is
Why do
that
I
the
want-
final boss is a White Mantle? That's kind of lame, you know. And then it
Why
ended
do I
up
want a
being
homeless
awesome.
guy mini?
Right?
Except that he is called he is called Sol D'Alessio in the fight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
by that
that's it,
time you
that's the
know.
reveal.
But that
Like,
is the yes.
Just
That's
so
the
if you
reveal.
saw the reward first, you know you would.
Right, they show you the reward, but they still don't reveal it. So
Yeah.
I think they if they want to do it that way, they did it right. I think they should lock it until you've done that story step, or until you get to
Right,
that boss,
right.
until
Yeah.
you've completed the story instance. It just says like content locked or mini locked, and then once you've completed that, it reveals what it is. That would be the ultimate way to do it.
Yeah.
I would love to, idiot, but my cat does not sit still like Alex's does.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Launch weekend, I guess, is going to be. It's going to be a rushed experience a little bit for me. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't love
hate
that,
that.
but there's really not a big choice for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong. I can always replay the story later at a slower pace, but that initial feeling you get from the story is like
Yeah.
it's like
get
a one-time thing.
Exactly. Yeah, you get that rarely.
You should just take the weekend for yourself and then
Yeah.
you know
I mean,
You know? Oh,
I mean that's the, I
tough.
mean,
work after.
I think you're gonna have to set yourself to invisible anyway, because people are just gonna
Oh, absolutely, 1000%.
start whispering you spoilers.
No,
Go, God,
no,
did you hear that?
Yeah,
that
no
X,
chat,
Y, Z?
no
Just like leave all your
offline,
guilds.
no chat. Yeah,
Yeah.
nope, hide everything.
But I think that's something that I think, you know, Inks has touched on this already, that sometimes as content creators we do get wrapped up a little bit in saying, oh, we've got to stream, we've got to
Yeah.
create content, we've got to do videos, and
But we're only here. We're here because of the game, so the game should take
Right.
yeah.
precedence.
But do you guys ever find that sometimes, especially when like an expansion comes along, you know, once every couple of years, and you get the you allow yourself to get caught up in the hype, and you want yourself to experience it for the first time, like you would a single player game,
Yeah.
that you do have to take that time for yourself to be able to kind of savor it before you get your hat back on and just go, right, I want to, you know, I've got to make the most of this, because I mean I'm sure we must all get that sometimes when we're doing videos and whatever anyway, that sometimes we're just going to like, you know what, just a couple of weeks I'm either going to play something else, or I'm just going to play the game for me, just going to do something for me.
You don't want to lose sight of it. You don't want it to become a chore or like a work.
Right.
Then why are you even doing it? Like you're supposed to be there because you love the game. And you can't let that kind of.
I mean, it doesn't ruin it for
second.
me. It just changes the experience, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't ruin it. Like I don't want that to be like the thing. And I realize most people will be like they don't relate or they don't care, and that's fine. But
just record everything.
I don't know.
Play normally.
Just
and then talk over footage or something.
Yeah.
There was a series I did a couple of years ago where I think I've talked about this before in a previous episode of a game called Pillars of Eternity, and it was 160 odd episodes, I think, and I did the voice narration for every single piece of character dialogue in the game, and like my throat was raw by the time I finished it, and but I couldn't remember what had happened. I just got so invested into the thing, and I had to like go through the guide and actually replay it again to allow myself to get properly immersed into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
because then you focus on like reading.
Yeah,
you're just kind of reading the script, but you're not really thinking it or taking it.
And so I'm trying to do all these ridiculous accents because everyone knows that elves can only be Welsh or Irish, dwarves have to be Scottish, and farmers have to be from Somerset.
Yeah. It's the law. It's
the law of fantasy. But like kind of doing that kind of changed how I wanted to approach everything. It's why I was like, hey, this streaming thing is a lot better, because you can sit there and you can ease yourself into it. You can savor the game while you play it, because you're not having to think about production values or I should do a cut there. And
streaming is better than if you're recording it, for sure. You're not having to plan on shots or anything. You're just kind of playing.
Yeah. And like you do, Peachy, you get that live reaction thing going on. You actually, you can react to it with your audience, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love doing that with things that, I stream every Tuesday, so new stuff in the gem store or, a new Black Lion weapon set. I can do all that live, and I don't feel like that's content that I have to look at privately, offline, in my own time, The story is the most important thing to me, and that only comes along every couple months, so I want to, cherish that. That's like my me time with the game.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm still recording it. So it's it's an interesting balance, and I agree with Inks. Inks put it perfectly. It doesn't ruin the experience, but it changes it for sure. It does change it. I definitely look at the game differently now than I did, back when I was playing season 1 and not content creating, and everything was, everything was just for me. Now it's like my play experience is not just for me, it's also for everybody else. And that's not a bad thing, but it just changes things for me. Absolutely. I was actually trying to think the other day, when was the last time that Guild Wars made me cry? And I actually couldn't remember. I couldn't remember when, what?
Never.
I couldn't, the Zephyrite, and that was like, I was new to content creation. It was still this new thing. I wasn't streaming. And I still just felt like I was playing it for me, and that was when I got so emotional, and I was like, I want PoF to make me cry. I don't think season 3 made me like super emotional. I did a Q&A recently, and someone asked, what was the most emotional moment for you in season 3? And I was just like, I don't know.
No, like,
there really wasn't.
Garm maybe.
Like,
Garm.
Air's funeral probably.
Garm was super sad. I forgot about that.
It wasn't even Air's funeral. It was just that Garm was like this
Garm
broken, bloody mess who
yes,
missed his master.
I totally forgot about that. Yes, that was totally it.
That was the last time I
got me
kind
a
of
little
felt
bit.
anything.
Got me a little bit. Garm coming home.
The Silvari voice actor's speech at that funeral thing was so good. Like I think that was the one and only time throughout season 3 that it got me like a bit emotional.
Ecto Gambling makes me cry all the time.
I lost 600 gold the other day.
And you know what? The Garm thing would have been good regardless for me, but there was just a lot of real life stuff that had happened around or close to the same time
That
made
also
it
affects
like,
it very much. Yes.
that had a greater impact on me at that particular time. But I think Garm was like the only thing that really. I'm not a person who gets like easily moved by
I could tell.
movies or characters. Yeah, like to me, it's just like whatever. But it's really tough for me to like, I guess, immerse myself that deeply in it where it affects me or whatever. I just hear Timey and I go into fits of rage and.
I guess it's still an emotional response, right?
Sure, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not really the one they're heading
Yeah.
for, though.
She calls me on the telephone and I just go, oh God, stop talking.
I just want Guild Wars 2 to hit me with the feels again, and I feel like it's been a while since it's really
It has
done
been a
that.
while.
I mean, I think of games like I keep thinking back to the Moon, which is this game you can do in like a couple hours, and I mean, it just makes you like break down and bawl and like tears streaming down your face. Like I've seen the manliest man be like, oh my God, because like just the story that the game tells combined with the music and the dialogue and connecting to the characters. And sometimes I feel like it's hard for me to, there's characters I love, but I don't feel like I'm emotionally connected to a lot of the characters in Guild Wars 2, and I don't like it. I wish it was different, but that's what it is.
To throw my hat into the emotional scenes when Morden dies in Mass Effect 3, if you do it the good way, if not if you shoot him yourself, but when Morden dies curing the genophage and he starts singing the scientist Solarian song to himself.
Spoilers, Alex.
2012. 2012 was 5 years
soon.
ago.
Too soon.
I don't know, man. I'm hyped for story. I'm hyped for exploration.
Hype for the elite specs.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not actually that excited for that this time.
Yeah.
I was really hyped the first time around, but
What? No,
I think it's because I've not settled on one that I know for sure that I want to.
Same. I'm the same.
Like,
the correct answers seem to be Firebrand or Deadeye this time round.
Nah.
I know. It's quite obviously Renegade.
That
You know
was
what
an
it
emotion.
is?
No. Renegade seems boring.
For me,
Renegade is amazing.
It's just like a worse ranger. Like,
If you want to play a worse ranger, play Bearbow, and then you have the worst possible ranger.
not so much anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I think for me it's going to be that I'll be mostly stuck in Druid still anyway, so it really won't change my gameplay that much. We'll see. We'll see. People will come up with cool and interesting builds that my mind just can't create. And
That's what I'm waiting for too.
then it'll get me more excited for some of those classes. Like some of them are really cool and flashy, and don't get me wrong, they're extremely fun to play. Almost all of them, for me. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not as maybe because I'm happy with where I'm at with my character. It doesn't.
yeah, I think that's it. There's someone said in chat that they really like Dragon Hunter, so they're not hyped for Firebrand. And I'm kind of in the same position with Necro. I like Reaper so much that
Dude,
the Scourge just seems a bit
I
like.
love Dragon Hunters so much. I have to give up my bow, and that's all I use is my
You don't
longbow.
have to. Man.
I know, but like
The bow is-
I have
it's the
to
new
be a
thing. You
firebrand,
have to.
and
Are you
I'm
using a longbow in 2017 on a Dragon Hunter? That's not meta.
I
So
love
you
it so
start with
much.
the
It's going to
meta.
be very painful to give it up. I've actually been, because I've been doing the Aurora collection, and I keep thinking I really should be doing Astralaria because I'm getting Axe. But then if I do, and what if I end up hating Axe Firebrand? I don't know. I haven't played it enough.
I've had kind of I don't know, a bad experience with elite spec weapons. Like Necro's like greatsword just didn't ever catch on really. So I'm kind of trying to play it safe.
That was more due to Power Reaper though not being
Yeah, true. I
as powerful as it
I want to
could.
make sure that the weapon's actually gonna be useful before I make any legendaries. Like I've nearly finished. I'm just a few mats away from Astralaria that I was making for Mesmer. But I don't even know if I like Axe on Mirage, so
yeah.
I'm looking forward to a lot of the collections as well.
Alright.
Collections get me achievements in general. It'll be interesting to see what achievements are really fun to do and which ones are kind of a little more tedious or whatever.
I'm actually quite excited for new adventures. I know it's stupid, and I never played
Oh,
Adventures
yeah.
in Heart of Thorns, but like I was really happy to see that they were back again.
They're fun.
And I think they're going to be designed a lot better and probably going to be a bit more interesting and fun to do this time around.
That one
I
takes you
hope so.
all over the map, so they've opened the box a little bit as
Plus,
far as
Mario
the-
Kart
what
is
they
like
can
one of
do.
my favorite games ever. So
The
I'm
Raptor
hyped as
race is
hell
so
for racing.
fun.
I'm so hyped for
It's
racing.
so fun.
The Raptor race is cool. I know. I never warmed to Adventures in Heart of Thorns. I kind of did a couple just to get the extra hero points I need. But I never. They just never quite clicked with me, which is a shame.
There were some I really liked and others that I.
Oh yeah,
Insane.
yeah, for sure.
But if they really kind of have a bit of a giggle with the races, because what was the name of the Guild Wars 1 mini event where you could race as like little beetles or something?
Roller
Oh
beetle
my God.
racing.
Yeah,
roller
You
beetle
would go
racing.
into a separate instance. Everybody was a beetle,
Yeah.
and you'd have your skills. You just roll.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that, I think could be really awesome.
Really, you know
I
what
tried to
though?
do that
I
a few
also
months
really
ago.
like the idea of I'm out adventuring, running around on Mount whatever, Skimmer, let's say, and all of a sudden a herd of players goes running by because they're doing a race I haven't quite discovered just yet or haven't gotten to just yet. I don't know. That excites me to see like just a group of. There goes a herd of raptors just running by.
Yeah.
There goes Corvus and Alex just running on the raptor.
I hope there's different mount racing as well. I'd love a skimmer one where you're like going across water or something, or like a race to the top of a peak and you're using the bunny mount to like jump up it or something. That'd be
Yes.
kind of fun.
Yeah. There is going to be. I'm pretty
I just
sure
hope there's
gonna be other
there's
races.
good. I would like kind of cool exclusive rewards for races.
Is there going to be a mount rotation that's going to become meta for the races, so you have to swap mounts
Oh,
mid-race?
absolutely,
mid-race.
absolutely.
That'd be like the QT racing build, like meta stuff
Yeah.
going on.
Muskie, I remember the Moa racing in LA. It was it just
Oh,
before the
yeah, that was
construction of
season
original
1.
Lions Arc?
That was season 1.
Yeah,
Moa
it
racing.
was it wasn't like
But you didn't actually race.
No, it was just a
you just
gambling.
bet.
Like, you
bet
bet
on
on
those,
them. Yeah.
Gambling.
Yeah.
And they brought them back like they're little baby Moas. They just haven't grown
Yeah.
up.
You
to
didn't. Yeah.
replace it,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately.
That was Dragon Bash?
The original Dragon Bash.
The only
Jesus.
Dragon Bash.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Oh no, it's been Lunar New Year from then on, or is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's Dragon Ball.
Why
and
can
stuff.
we not make dragon pinatas in our guild hall? Every time I think of Dragon Bash, I just think dragon pinatas. You hit them and little animated rainbow dragon confetti comes out. I want my
Cool,
dragon
so what we
confetti
should
back.
do- We should do a collab, mate. We should do a metal version of Dragon Bash of Smash the Dragon.
I actually don't like that song. I find it.
Wow,
really annoying.
Corvus.
Fine, I'll do it on my own.
I mean,
I'll do it on my own.
I just really I don't know. Song. I think it's
Oh, but
annoying
it's
as
great.
fuck.
It's great. It's great.
It's alright, but like
Chat,
At
tell
some-
Corvus
at-
that he's wrong.
At some point, I tried to learn all the lyrics to that song. I would be like in the shower, bash the dragon, bash, like trying to like see if I could remember it. And I was like this close to like getting everything perfect, and then I just gave up because I was like, I hate this song now. I was like, I don't hate it, but I was tired of it. I got tired of it, and I was like, I don't, no, I'm done with this song.
But yeah, I'm just excited for. I think I'm most excited for all the lore that we're going to get, the ambient
yes.
dialogue, the story,
Yeah,
just the world building in general. Which, despite how you might feel about story, be it personal, living, or otherwise, ArenaNet is good at world building. I feel like their
Yeah,
general
definitely.
world building lore they're good at, and so I think that's what I look forward to most, and sort of exploring and finding any sort of hidden places that you might be able to get to, little caves or nooks or
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I think with the mounts, there's going to be so much of that. There's going to be this one hidden ledge that you didn't think to jump up with at the Springer, only when you get the Springer max unlocked, so it has its maximum jump height. You can get to that ledge that you can barely see. There's going to be
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff like that, and it's going to make the replayability of the maps.
Yeah.
There's going
I
to
hope
be
there's
something in the first map that you can only get to with, you know, I keep thinking
Yeah.
the Springer or with the Jackal, because you have to, you know, I wonder if you can do that
Yeah, you
shadow
have to
step
come
like
back to
through
the
a
previous
wall or
maps to
something.
get- Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want
That'd be
secret.
cool.
I want loads of little secrets. I don't want it to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like, you know, the first, like the weekend. By the end of it, everyone kind of knows everything that's in the
Yeah.
game and everywhere, and how
There
to
is-
do everything. I want little things to be revealed, or like you were saying, secret locations that people didn't think to get to. Or
Yeah.
There was a really cool thing that Nightfall did when they started introducing Djinn hordes, and that you had to really search for these. There were 3 or 4 of them across the map of each. No, I think it was all of like Corner and Vabi, where you had to like go super hunting and do a particular kind of event, and then eventually you get access to like a chest inside a Ginny horde, and it was only like a one-time thing on your account, but you got like some super good loot inside, and there's just like this giant pile of gold with this chest in it, and you could only do it once, and if you went in again, you couldn't get it. But yeah, stuff like that, stuff like
that's
that
cool.
you would either have to know is there, or that you'd stumble across like completely
By
by
accident,
accident.
yeah.
Like Skyrim map exploration. You know, when you know 5 or 6 years later, when you're stumbling into a dungeon you've never seen before in your life, you're just like, yeah, that kind of cool stuff.
Yeah, just like a better game though. Skyrim's like a bad game. So.
My one
Yeah.
thing for the story, regardless of how it's told or ends up or characters involved, I hope that there's less of in Heart of Thorns, and they didn't really do this in Living Story 3, so that's good. But in Heart of Thorns, there was a lot of like breadcrumb, like follow Timy's hollow discs and she'll get to the next map, and follow Rox's footprints and she'll lead you. Like that. In season 3, they did the filler differently, right? It was kind of like do the hearts and they'll lead you along, which is not that different, but
It was better, I think.
better than the other thing. But I want less of like that particular type of breadcrumbing through the world. I don't want to follow a bunch of footprints or hollow discs or whatever the case is. Just
that heart quest.
tell me to go to Vabi and I'll run over to Vabi and I'll go do the story. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that. You don't need to give me, you know, Lazarus's Balthazar's footprints or something to follow in the sand.
Oh man,
Yeah, I agree.
that'd be the worst.
That was the open world busy work, and there was literally entire story chapters of the 16, the precious few that we got. The entire story chapter was follow, you know, Rox's footprints, and it was like, wow,
that
was one of the episodes. That was one of the sections, the chapters. So, like I said, I really think that they'll have learned a lot from how Heart of Thorns worked.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah.
The heart quest thing was my least favorite part of season 3. The fact that they were incorporated so heavily into the story, resulting in kind of just a beginning that was interesting, the ending that was interesting, and the middle, which was just kind of doing heart quests.
Some of the episodes felt like busy work. Some of it didn't. It depended on the story. So some of them worked really well. I thought the Lake Doric one worked really well because I felt like I was on the battlefield. They said, you know,
100%,
it's literally go and kill 100 White Mantle. But I felt like, you know, because of the build-up, Logan going, okay, we're on the front lines, we're fighting the White Mantle, so, you know, you need to go and turn the tides, or you need to be stealth and go in and infiltrate them. I felt like I was a part of what was going on, rather than, Ember Bay is gonna explode, you gotta go put the dwarf thing back together. It was like, what? Where did this come
Take
from?
my thumb and place it on the balls.
It's like, what?
Save the mountain. Okay, dwarf head, I'm on my way.
Yeah, I think cracking the ice was definitely the worst, especially because the payoff was that annoyingly long instance with Bram just being moody as hell. So there wasn't even like a good reward for doing the hearts.
You got to see Bram become a dragon hunter, Corvus.
Oh yeah,
that was another emotional moment for me. Like, he finally became a dragon hunter. Yay!
People really hate Bram from that episode.
God, they do.
I mean,
I don't mind it. Like my biggest problem with that episode was the fact that like the big reveal at the end, him cracking the tooth and stuff, was kind of just skimmed over. Like it
You
should have
only
been more
heard
of a thing.
about it after that. You heard that there was revelry and everybody was hoisting him up on their shoulders. You heard
should have
that
been a
they
whole
that all they took a giant hunting party and went off to find Kralkatorrik. You never. It was like a sentence or two from Timey or from a letter from him. Like,
but
that
even
was
like
it.
that clip was like it was literally like 5
It
seconds.
was
of him
it
going,
was short.
and then it cracked, and that was it. And I was like,
It should
that
have
was
shown
a
like
thing-
close-ups of like a couple Norns faces, like.
Should have been a big
the
build-up as well, 'cause-
impact of this, you know, because unless you know the lore of that tooth and what that means to them, it was like he cracked the tooth. So what? You
Like
know?
I was like that was like one of the first things I saw in the game that like hooked me in and was like, oh man, that's so cool, like such a cool idea. This and like that was back in 2012, and like so for that to finally pay off in like some crap 5-second cutscene was just like, oh man, it was disappointing as hell.
And I do understand
I don't
some of
hate Bram
the.
at all. And I'm actually like it came out that he's not in Path of Fire, which I actually was really disappointed by. I didn't want him to suddenly turn up during the story, but I wanted him to like play some role. I would have liked to go north, like or at some point, or
Yeah.
spoken to him or something. But I don't know. I don't. I get why people don't like him, but to me, it's like the Traherne hate. Like I always liked Traherne. I didn't. I didn't
Traherne
really hate him.
eventually
It was kind of a
redeemed
meme.
himself,
I didn't even in the personal story. I didn't think he was that bad, honestly.
Well, no, it wasn't that he was necessarily a badly written character. He wasn't. That for me, the problem was always that he took the credit for all the work that you're
Yeah.
doing, and as
It didn't bother
Pact
me.
Marshal, he was like, "We shall lead the Pact," and then you go around destroying towers, fighting dragons, and everyone's like, "Well done, Traherne."
Yeah, but maybe that's just like social commentary, Alec.
Well, I think
What?
some of the problems with
Are you saying
Traherne
that
is
I'm
the fact that
Yeah, Inks.
the problem with Traherne is like Traherne is doing stuff to fight the battle behind the scenes, but you never see him fight the battle. But everybody says, Traherne, you did such a good job fighting the battle. When he really says to the commander, hey, listen, I have this problem I can't solve. You need to go solve the problem. You know what I mean? And so it feels like he's getting credit for everything we do. Even so, you can even stretch it so far as when you kill Zaitan, like Ritlock in the demo comes out and says, oh, you're the commander who killed 2 dragons? And Ritlock's like, well, he didn't do it alone. And it's like, Ritlock, you stood on the deck and did nothing, buddy. You did it alone.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. It's like you went there pressing 2 with us, okay? But no,
I don't know,
no.
it never bothered me that much. But I mean, I guess I understand why people don't like it.
I see what you mean, but I still think that the way that Traherne was crafted through the end of the personal story was that he did just end up taking a lot of the credit for what we did, despite the fact that it was sort of retcon later on in season 2, and everyone goes, you're the one that killed the dragon. And
They've rectified a lot of that since then.
Yeah.
We were the ones that physically stomped Scarlet. We were the ones who physically killed Mordramoth and Traherne. We were the ones, that killed Caudicus. So they have been rectifying that, giving us the final blow and the credit for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So-
not like they can credit Traherne with killing Caudicus, can they? Because he's been dead for a year at that point. So,
Don't. That's
spoilers, by the
They
way.
redeemed him so well, though.
I know,
Even just
like,
in
him-
Heart of Thorns, even before
It
the
was-
memorial stuff, like
It was done
No,
really
it
I thought
well.
actually
was
was
really
like,
cool.
oh, there he is. To be honest, I got that in the season 2 finale, like seeing him again.
I
at the
did.
end.
I
I was like, yeah,
I-
it's
ending,
Traherne,
though.
dude.
I actually really like the ending.
And then he just
Traherne's ending. I thought
It
cool.
it was pretty good, but there's this whole funny thing where he's like, "You have to take Caliburg and kill me," and the commander's like, "No, Traherne, I can't." I'm like, "Where's Caliburg? Give it to me.
Yeah.
I will cut you in half. I have no problems with that." And the commander is like, "No, Traherne, you mean so
Oh
much to me." And
no,
I'm like,
I
will kill
can't.
you.
Don't
Where are
make
you?
me.
Ah.
We have a lot of questions about Casimir. What do we think about that Casimir is going to do in PoF with her religious crisis? I haven't thought much about it, to be honest. I just kind of, she's... But
All
I
I,
wonder
hope
if
is that there's not a moment of weakness where she bails on us because of it. I think that'd
If
be
any-
kind of. I'd see that coming. It's too tropish. Like it's
Maybe her bailing on us is going to be an analogy for her bailing on her personal relationship with Marjorie, and therefore we see both the professional and the personal crumbling of Casimir as a character.
I think that's
Despite
too
the fact
obvious,
that
dude.
And then she just becomes this
restored the
badass.
relationship.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. I don't like that. I think it's too
So-
obvious. I'd see it coming too much.
I've given Casimir a lot of flack over the last, well, since Heart of Thorns, really, because of what they did to her character in Heart of Thorns. There just wasn't enough screen time for all of them, and most of
Right.
them didn't really get anything. Casimir definitely suffered from lack of
Was she
things
even
to
in Heart of
say or
Thorns?
do. Yeah,
Can't
She was
there.
in like the
Yeah.
very end, like. she
But
did a
what really
couple
annoyed me was
mentor
like
portals.
ArenaNet tries to address that, and they're like, Casimir, why didn't you do anything or say anything or whatever? And she's like, oh, well, me and Marjorie are having some problems. And it's like, what does it have to do with killing Mordremoth? What are you talking
surely this is
about?
more
Help
important.
me.
It's because Mordremoth can only be killed through the power of love, Inks. Okay? True love conquers all.
You know what I would
We've
like to
learned
see?
nothing since 2012.
And
I'd
it's
like-
just like, I don't know. I really liked the beginning season. I really like season 1 Casimir, where she's the secret agent on the beach trying to collect information. She's detached from her family, trying to find her place in the world. She sees a loved one get hurt and nearly killed, and she
goes badass.
Right, her anxiety goes away. She becomes a hero at that moment and steps up and helps you kill Scarlet. But then from then on, she slowly ekes away into like cowardice again.
Yeah, she
And that-
does. You're right.
And that like culminates in season 3, which we waited a long time to see her, only to have her come in, have a relationship fight when Lazarus is knocking on the door, or fake Lazarus.
Yeah.
And then her girlfriend gets hurt again, but this time instead of becoming a badass, she's like, I got a portal out of here. Bye. And she goes away. And now I get it, right? That's her crisis of faith, right? Everything has been it's not just like, here's a bad person, Scarlet, my loved one is hurt, I need to step up, but it's a crisis of faith. So it's not that it doesn't necessarily fit, but I feel like they put her on this pedestal of I'm a badass, and then withered away to cowardice again.
Do you think it was maybe the wrong character? Like, because with a god coming back, like they had to have this kind of plot line in there because it's a huge deal for the humans in Tyria. But maybe they should have chosen someone else to struggle with it because they had built her up and kind of done that arc, but now they're having to like
I don't know, I mean,
reset it
She
almost.
started withering away ever since Marjorie's sister died, and Marjorie
Right.
got
Yeah.
distant. Marjorie is her strength, and Marjorie has not been present of mind. She's been doing her own thing, being more independent with everyone, not just Casimir, and Casimir included, ever since Belinda died. So
But that kind of annoyed that annoyed me as well, because Jory's been so distant the past like few years that like, but then she gets mad that like Cass didn't try and protect her.
yeah, that
You
bug-
know,
that
I was kind
bugged
of
me
like,
too.
well, like you've been kind of a dick.
I
want to
see Casimir redeem herself. All right, she could redeem herself in Path of Fire. Like I know it's going to concentrate on Ritlock, Casimir, and Kanak, but that doesn't mean the other characters can't be involved as well. They're just not going to have a major role if they have a role at all. I would love to see like at the final battle, whether that's with Balthazar or whatever. I would love to see like Marjorie, like everybody kind of comes back together, and like Marjorie sacrifices herself, and then Casimir she just like goes crazy, or Balthazar does actually succeed in attacking and then killing her. I would like to see Marjorie sacrifice herself more than she just like gets hit by an air fireball and dies.
Times, though, to die.
But we've
She's been
I
brought back
know.
from the brink at the last minute too many times.
Twice
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
No,
It's-
but this is what. But I've been saying this since before Heart of Thorns that I would love Cass to die, because then having Belinda die and then Casimir die, and even more now because she's been distant, she's gonna have guilt and regret if Casimir
that's gonna
dies
make-
because of how she's been. But then she's gonna go mental, and it's
If
gonna
that
be cool as
happens,
hell. She's gonna
Marjorie
go,
has
like-
to go full evil. She can't
Yeah, but,
just
like,
be
that-
this mopey behind the
I'd like
scenes,
to see her
whatever
just
dark character. She
break,
has to go
though.
evil, insane.
Yeah, like
Right,
I
but
just
then
wanna-
you
It's
get-
gonna be fun because
get
what she's
Scarlet,
gonna
though,
do
don't
is
you?
she's just gonna
Yes, you get Scarlet, exactly.
she's just gonna carry the spirit of Casimir around in a torch,
Yeah.
And then she's just
Every
going to add that
expansion
to the
is-
repertoire.
Yeah.
And she said,
Marjorie
this one's my
dies.
sister,
Casimir
this one's
becomes
my
a
lover.
chronomancer in trying to go back in time to revive her.
How much do you think though, that we're gonna be in some big tense fight with Ritlock and everyone, and then at the last moment Logan appears, and it's gonna be like him
Logan.
paying his debt.
Logan
It's gonna be him
can't
paying his
do
debt to
anything.
Ritlock for running away.
That would be
Logan
cool.
and Zoja. Logan and Zoja.
No, I mean they
So,
kind of did that in what dungeon? What that kind of happened?
Aurora.
Was it? Yeah, it was Aurora.
Oh,
Yeah, they
Aurora.
kind of already did that. Maybe Ritlock bails this time, and then he's like, "Oh, no."
No, you go.
I mean, I am excited for Casimir's story more than I thought I would be because of how I feel about her character currently. I do think that she's going to resolve her crisis of faith, and I get the setup ArenaNet's trying to do in Season 3 with that, but I don't know. I feel like...
What I think they've been trying to do a little bit, in Guild Wars 1, you can follow Menlo and Sin all the way from the beginning of Prophecies all the way through to the Eye of the North, and you can see how their relationship develops every time you bump into them in the maps. And because there's Menlo, Sin, Devona, and Aiden, who are like the four that always stick together, and they travel through the world, and their lives develop as you kind of go along. And it starts off with Menlo and Sin having this very kind of acerbic relationship with each other, very snarky and kind of snappy with each other. And eventually, as it goes on, they eventually become closer. And I think at some point during Nightfall, they admit that they love each other or something. And then at the end of Eye of the North, there's like a discussion with the Stone Dwarves where they're talking about children or marriage or something like that. And seeing that relationship develop like that over time through the course of years of the game, I thought it was really, really well paced, and I think that's something that they're trying to do.
It's nice when it takes a backseat, though. What I don't like is what I wouldn't like is if we've got this huge world-changing event happening in front of us, but we're kind of focusing on these two, like this lovers quarrel.
Keith and Fallon's relationship was a backseat thing. Like,
Yeah.
it was present, it was there, it was part of their
Yes.
characters, but like you only hear about it secondhand. You don't really witness it.
And
so
it was
much
always, if
necessarily.
it was there, it was relevant to what was going on.
You could pay as much attention to it as you were personally interested in it. They put Marjorie and Casimir too much in the foreground. You can't help but pay attention to their relationship. That's a great analogy.
And for the record, too, I don't think they're going to kill either one of them. They originally wrote that Marjorie was supposed to die at the end of Season 1, and they changed it, right? And I just don't think that they're going to revisit that. What does sort of... What I do think is sort of interesting is that, let's say we kill Balthazar, or we Abaddon him, right? We get rid of him. I don't want Casimir to be the next Cormier. I don't want her to ascend to godhood and have this whole story of faith. There's a whole story that's going to be involved with her about her crisis of faith, where she has to come to terms with it, right? And a possible ending to that is she comes to terms with it and becomes a god herself.
Nah,
and I don't know that I necessarily want that.
That'd be too recycled, man. Like they can't do that, especially seeing as they've been hitting so long. We've had these little threads about how whether maybe the gods aren't, but they're not these all-powerful beings or important things. They're just kind of powerful dudes. They're not gods. They're just kind of people, and so it wouldn't really fit like some kind of ascension story unless we discover that there's part of like a balance thing tied to them that's necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Ritlock is probably a better fit for that. But you have to remember, too, she doesn't necessarily have to be the god of war alone. Those powers seem to be shared and shifted amongst the gods. Cormier is not the same as Abaddon, for example.
Right.
She is not the goddess of secret. She is the goddess of truth. So she has twisted it into her own way.
And no one's the god of water at the moment, are they?
Dwayna.
I thought Dwayna was light, or did she take?
She took over water. Yeah, she took over water as well.
She could be the goddess of time.
The goddess of
Yeah,
time.
but that's quite cool, actually.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing how Casimir develops. I hope she redevelops into a better character than she currently is, or has been for like 2 seasons almost.
Yeah.
And it should be pretty cool. The 3 characters they chose, I think, should go over pretty well. People love Ritlock. I think that there's going to be a story instance where we get to play as Ritlock when he tells the story of the Mists.
That'd be cool.
Casimir's story could be really interesting, and then Canuck will be there for the funny one-liners and the snarkiness and rudeness.
I love
and whatever.
Canuck so much. You know what? I'm not actually that excited for Ritlock, mainly because we've kind of
I
been
am.
teased
Yeah.
too much. I don't think I'm not going in excited about getting an answer to this stuff because part of me just expects him to be like, nah, I'm not.
Not
that.
actually.
Like,
you
I know
don't,
we-
you don't
we
trust
referenced
ArenaNet to
that.
actually give us an answer to
But
this.
like they referenced that in like the first chapter that we got to play in the demo. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, well, that's the last time you're allowed to say no to me or something like.
Yes.
But it's a mix of like, oh, it's not gonna happen, and I'm actually worried about it not being that cool. Like, it needs to be it's gonna come as an explanation. It's gonna be like a little dialogue box that's gonna reveal something
Oh.
to us, and it's like,
We
is
saw
it really
part of
gonna
the
be that cool?
cutscene though.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more like
If they do
season 2
something
memory
like that, it'd be
seeds.
fine. Do you think?
We get to play as Kate throughout those
Oh.
different
that'd
instances.
be-
Oh.
I think Ritlock's going to be like, sit
I'll
down,
take
Commander.
the
Let me
You're
tell you
gonna
the
play
story.
as Ritlock.
And then you get to play as Ritlock in the mist trying to get the sword and
Ritlock's
whatever
pretty
happens,
rampage.
right?
Right. I'm
I guess
actually
that'd be
really
cool.
excited for that.
You know,
Yeah,
he,
me too.
he bumps into Abaddon, and then he bumps into Glint, and
I mean, it'd be
Shiro.
cool.
Shiro, yeah.
I just, I just hope they do it well because it's been so long. It's become kind of
Yeah.
a meme in the community
Yeah.
that if they just have him tell us in a dialogue box in the middle of a map where the NPC's talking over him, it's gonna
Oh,
be really
God.
annoying.
Oh jeez.
It's gonna
Like,
be
so
really...
what? So Ritlock, what happened in the mists? It was pretty chill.
Yeah, just it was, yeah.
What happened in the mist? Well, I busted into this kid's room and showed him Super Adventure Box.
Yeah, he loved it.
Just play the commercial. Ritlock, Brimstone,
Stop.
Yes.
Uncle Trombone. What are you doing in my room?
But yeah, September 22nd, we find it all out.
It's
don't we?
crazy, dude.
It is. It is.
9 days now.
No, I said it was pretty chill, Trick Shop. Not it was pretty cripple. That's dude.
Pretty crippled.
Oh dear.
So yeah, first thing I'm doing is just beelining for the story. Gonna try and pace myself, yet still get it done in hopefully like 3 days or so, and just
Yeah.
soak up everything.
It's gonna be good.
Great.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be so good. So good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this Guild Gab. It has been super fun. This is probably going to be the last Guild Gab before PoF launches, so the next one is most likely going to be talking all about the story. I don't know if we'll do one maybe like one without story, maybe talking about the maps, because we're going to have an impossible amount of stuff to talk about. So we might do one like that's talking about the maps and the mechanics and the mounts and the elite specs, everything but the story. I think that's what we did for Heart of Thorns, and then after like a week later we did one for the story. So we'll probably do something similar to that after PoF launches. So follow us on Twitter, on YouTube and Facebook, and here on Twitch, all the places for updates on when the next show is going to be. I'm sure we will all be creating lots of content, so the links are in Twitch chat if you're watching live on Twitch. If not, scroll down below right now and go into the description, click on everybody's links. I also have everybody's referral links down there. If you do not already own Path of Fire, you can purchase that and support your favorite Guild Wars 2 content creator, so please do that. And hashtag give Corvus money, is that
Yeah.
Hashtag
That's my URL.
Buckfast.
100%.
Sorry,
thanks.
I've
That's
been.
really nice, dude.
No, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's
I
really
like it. It's really good. It's at like 8% as well or something.
it's got caffeine as well.
I love this show. I love it.
I love you guys.
I love you guys so much. Hurry up. All time. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.